All right. Hello, yogis. Thank you so much for coming to your mat today. I want us to get started in child's pose. So while you get set up in child's pose, we'll go over our theme for our practice. And logistically, though, let's bring our big toes together, and then you can bring the knees further apart, maybe even as wide as the mat or closer together. You make the decision on what fits your body right now, and then go ahead and lower down. And for props, you might have something around that could support, like blocks. Those are good to have, but not essential. And it could be an opportunity too to bring your forehead to a block, or to stacked palms, or to stacked fists. So go ahead and find your resting position here to begin. Bringing the hips back to the heels, soften the shoulders. The arms can be elongated with the fingertips crawling forward, or perhaps the elbows are soft with the forearms resting on the mat. Again, customize this pose to support you here as we greet our practice. For today's practice, we're continuing on the theme of soft and strong. And for this practice, we're going to work primarily with a focus on hips and hamstrings, as well as some shoulder openers. We're going to work throughout all of the openings of the body, but that is the main focus for today. So here in this pose of surrender, go ahead and decide if you want palms facing down, which might feel natural and typical for you, or you could even explore bringing the palms facing up. Feel softness in the palms, whatever direction they're facing. And let's bring our focus to the breath. With each inhale, I want you to bring that breath wide into the sides of the waist, into the sides of the ribs. And feel the belly expand with each inhale. And then with each exhale, feel the heaviness of the hips reaching back towards the heels. Feel the experience of surrender. Now, if child's pose in the traditional sense does not feel comfortable for you, then I would encourage you to come onto your back with your knees drawn into your chest. Taking a moment here to scan the body, scanning all areas of the body, starting with the shoulders. Feel the shoulders drawing down the back. Feel the shoulder blades widen across the back. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here. Feel the connection to the earth, whether the palms are face down or the backs of the hands are touching the mat. Feel the connection of every part of the body to the earth. The space between the eyebrows or the forehead, the knees, the shins, the tops of the feet. Soften through all parts of the body that aren't touching the ground. Soften through the skull. Soften through the upper arms. Soften the entire back body down through the backs of the hips and to the soles of the feet. When we spend a few moments in a surrender position like child's pose. We invite softness into our practice, and sometimes that's the best way to enter into our practice. We may have been moving, we may have been action-oriented, we may have had an agenda in front of us for our day. And right now, the only item on your list is to soften. Notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw. Notice if there's any tension at the temples. And use your next exhale to release any areas that are holding tension that you can consciously let go of. We'll take one more in-breath here. And then as you exhale, slowly bringing yourself up to neutral table. Pressing into the hands, spreading those fingers wide, rooting at the base of each of the fingers, and then create length for the back of the neck by bringing the gaze right between the hands. Press into the earth with the hands, strong arms, forearms squeeze towards one another. Draw the navel in towards the spine. And let's go ahead and tuck the right toes back. Take a moment here to rock forward and back, creating opening for the bottom of the foot, for the calf, and allow the quadricep to be engaged. And then lift that right heel to the height of the hip. And notice what happens here with the lower ribs when that happens. Can you draw those lower ribs back into the body? The left top of foot can be tucked or pressed. And maybe, if you'd like, extend the left arm forward. Bring that upper arm bone back into the shoulder socket. Re-lengthen the head. Crown of the head reaches towards the front of the mat. And you can stay here with the left hand lifted or the left hand grounded. Whichever variation you're in, go ahead and bend that right knee. Keep the knee at the height of the hip. And if you like, you can reach around with that left hand, find the top of the foot, and open the heart forward while the knee reaches back. Continue drawing that lower belly in. And the modification, if you have that left hand down, would be to keep that right knee bent, heel pressing up towards the sky, activating the hamstrings. With that left hand reaching, it's asking us to invite some balance and also open up that right quadricep. In breath here. And then exhale, lower down. In neutral table, we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow, pressing into the hands. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the tail, keep the back of the neck long, and then lift the gaze. And then exhale, round the back, tuck the tail, tuck the chin, press that back up to the sky. Moving with the breath, a few more rounds. Inhale, lifts the heart, lifts the tail, and then exhale, round the back. Keep pressing equally into the hands, especially the space between thumb and index finger. One more round here. Come back into neutral table, tuck the left toes, press the heel back behind you, keeping those toes tucked, and then rocking forward and back. Tucking the chin slightly, keeping the base of the skull lifted. And then come back to neutral, lifting that heel to the height of the hip, pressing firmly into the hands, squeeze those forearms together. Staying right here or extending that right arm forward. Bring the upper arm bone back into the shoulder socket, thumb points up, pinky finger points down. And then staying here with that right hand lifted or grounded, bend that left knee. Optional reach around with the right hand to the top of the foot, lifting the thigh, bringing hand to foot, foot to hand, lifting the chest forward. Keep rooting into that left hand, bringing the weight to the inner hand, fingers spread wide, taking up as much space as you can with your connection to the earth. One more in-breath here. And exhale, bring it all back down. Step those hands about one hand distance forward. Tuck all 10 toes. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Let's take a few rounds of breath here to walk it out, bending one knee, lowering the opposite heel, and then switching it up. Bend the opposite knee and lowering the other heel. Nice and slow here. Allow the movement to respond to the breath. Allow the breath to be full, taking up as much space in the body as you can. Good. Then coming to two straight legs, pressing into the inner hands. Draw the ribs in towards each other. Soften the knees as much as you need to create as much length for the spine as possible. Hip points lift up, inner thighs roll back. Inhale forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. Push into the earth with the tips of the toes, with the hands. Keep squeezing those forearms together. Gaze comes right between the hands. And then exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale forward to plank. Modification will be lower to the knees. Heart extends forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last time forward here. Inhale. And then lower to the knees. Bring those elbows in. Reach the heart forward and lower all the way down. Keep the hands next to the ribs. Straighten out the legs. Press the tops of the feet. Curl the tails slightly. Thighs firm. Press into the palms, lifting up into baby cobra. Again, keeping the back of the neck long. Allow the shoulders to drop down away from the ears. And exhale, lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Pressing firmly with the hands, tops of feet press. Tail curls. Inhale, lift. Building some back body strength. Exhale, lower. And one more. Inhale, lift. Lift the hip points towards the heart. Curl the tail. Shoulders soften. Exhale, lower. Come through neutral table or press into plank pose. Lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth to release. Slowly walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, soften and fold. So feet can be hip width apart or shoulder width apart or big toes to touch. Soften the knees as much as you need to. Let go of the head. Clasp onto opposite elbows, rock from side to side. One more in-breath here. Exhale, soften. And then root to rise. Arms reach up, strong legs, straight spine. Exhale, palms to heart. Good. Bring yourself back to the top of the mat. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bring that right foot back, right knee to the earth. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, release the hands, step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank pose. Knees, chest, and chin are chaturanga. First, set it up. Tuck the chin slightly. Pull the belly in. Lower down with knees down or straight spine all the way. Inhale, cobra. Maybe the cobra's got a little bit more height. Otherwise, come right back to that low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale here. And exhale. We're going to bring that left foot a little closer to the center line of the mat. Reach that right leg up. Allow the toes to remain pointing towards the floor. Feel the left heel lower down, beginning to work into the back of that left leg, starting to open those hamstrings. Draw the knee into the chest, step the right foot forward, drop the left knee down. Hug the thighs in, inhale, reach the heart up. Good, inner shoulders soften. Anchor through the back toes, tucked or pressed. Exhale, release the hands, step it forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, arms reach up, strong legs, tail lengthens. Exhale, palms to heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, long neck, long spine. Exhale, left foot back, left knee comes down. Squeeze the thighs in, reach the arms up. And exhale, hands down, step it back, downward facing dog. Step the right foot a little towards the center line of the mat. And with hips facing the floor, internal rotation, left leg rises. Toes point straight down. Press into the heels of the hands, the base of the fingers. Reach the hips up, lower the right heel towards the earth. Left knee draws in. Step the left foot forward, right knee comes down. Inhale, hug the thighs, arms reach up. And then exhale, hands down, right foot forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, palms to heart. Let's release the hands to the side. Lower the hips to the height of the knees. Then inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Adjust the arms to support your shoulders, maybe moving them into the shape of field goal arms. Yogi's choice. In breath here. Exhale, lift those hips and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach all the way up. Keeping the arms uplifted. Opening the right side body, taking the left hand to the right wrist, reaching up and over, hips press right. Inhale up through center, switch the clasp. Right hand, left arm, left hips press left. Wiggle the toes loose, ground through all four corners of each foot. Inhale up through center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, right foot back, right knee down. Inhale, arms reach up. Let's interlace the hands on top of the left thigh and bring your lunge into 90 degrees. So you might need to back that left foot up. And we're going to keep that left hand on the hip or the thigh, or maybe the hand reaches to the earth. And we're going to bring that right arm up and over to the left. Opening the right side body, getting into the outer hip. Inhale, back up through to center. Release the hand. Step that left foot forward. Let's reach up once again. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands down. Step it back to plank. Inhale, plank. Knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Come halfway down or lower all the way down. If you're coming halfway down, making your way to upward facing dog. For upward facing dog, draw the shoulders down and back. Tops of the feet press, thighs engage. Now curl the tail towards the front body and lift the hip points up. Navel draws in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice deep in breath here. And exhale. Right leg rises on the inhale. Exhale, right foot steps forward, left knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach up. Shoulders soften. Back leg is the anchor. And then interlace the hands on the right side. Step yourself back into a 90-degree lunge. Hands are on the pelvis. Right hand stays grounded. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over. Again, you might be able to reach the earth, or the right hand can remain on the hip or thigh. Opening that left outer hip. Feel the left inner shoulder soften. Inhale up through center. Let's step that right foot forward once again. Hug the thighs in. Arms reach up. Activating that back leg. Hugging those thighs in. Exhale, release the hands, step it forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Root down to rise up, arms extend. Exhale, palms to heart. Bring the hands to the hips, lower the hips to the height of the knees. Heels are grounded, toes lighten up. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold, lift those hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach all the way up. Go ahead and keep the arms uplifted, opening the right side body. Left hand, right forearm, right hips reach right. Inhale up through center, switch the clasp. Inhale up, exhale, lower down. Halfway lift on the in-breath. Exhale, left foot steps back, left knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach up. So sinking the hips forward in a way that feels accessible to you. I want you to bring your right hand to your hip, left arm reaches up. Now bring the left elbow to the right thigh. Release any gripping toes on that right foot. Bring the right hand to meet the left and open the heart towards the hands. Feel your right hip moving back in space while the left hip reaches forward. Working deep into the muscles of the front of the hips, into the area of the psoas. Now, if you like, you're welcome to add a challenge for balance, for strength. Tucking the back toes, keeping the heart towards the hands. Begin to straighten that left leg. Soften both shoulders down and away from the ears. Activate that back leg. Lift the hamstring up to the sky. And then exhale, release the hands. Step it back to plank pose. Firm thighs, bring the heart forward, tuck the chin slightly, and lower down, halfway or all the way. Back bend would be cobra or up dog. Firm thighs, lengthen tail, pressing into the hands. Lifting up and back, downward facing dog. Nice deep in breath here. And exhale, release. Inhale, reach that left leg up. Nice internal rotation. Keeping the hip points facing the floor. Feel the right heel lower down. Draw the knee in. Step the left foot forward. Right knee comes to the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now we're going to twist to the other side. Left hand, left hip. Right elbow crosses. Take a moment to set your alignment. Activate your back foot. Press palms together, heart towards the thumbs. Wiggle your toes loose on that left foot. Drive into the left heel. Staying here for another couple of breaths, or if you like, tuck the back toes, straighten the leg, activate that right heel on top of the right ball of foot, ground into the ball mount of the left big toe. One more in-breath here. Release the hands, step it forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Separate the feet, hip width apart or wider, soften the knees, and let go. Clasp onto opposite elbows. Rock from side to side. Shake your head yes and no. Bring the fingertips to the earth. Bring your feet back to hip width apart. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, arms come all the way up. Exhale, lower the hands in front of the heart. Taking a moment here to set an intention for your practice. Now that you've traveled through about 30 minutes of slow flow, you may be able to have some clarity around what's going to serve you on the mat. How can you be soft and strong, both on the mat and off the mat? Choose an intention that supports you. Allow it to be simple, accessible, and meaningful. Go ahead and bring the hands to the hips. Bring the weight to the sole of the right foot. Go ahead and lift your left knee up. We're moving into tree pose, Vrikshasana. You can place the sole of the left foot on the inseam of the right leg, or in more of a kickstand fashion to support balance. Wiggle the toes loose on that right leg. Keep the tail lengthening, the hip points lifting, the shoulders back and down. If you like, and you have balance, play with extending your arms up overhead. Notice where you have softness. Notice your strength, pressing into the sole of the right foot. Feel softness at the jaw. Feel softness with the tongue and the mouth. And then lower your hands in front of your heart. Lift your knee up towards forward. And then step that left foot back, setting up for warrior two. Take a moment here to check in with your alignment. Right heel intersects left arch or thereabouts. Hip points lift, tail lengthens. And I like the cue, rooting that right thigh into the right hip bone, bringing that right hip back slightly and encouraging a turning in of that left thigh. Pressing into the outer edge of that left foot. And then as you're ready, float your arms up. Flip the palms. Soften through the shoulder blades. And then from here, bring that right elbow underneath the left. Eagle arms. Keep dropping into that lunge. As much as you're working that front body, pressing into that right heel, reach out through the outer edge of that back foot. Breathe fully and deeply into the belly, into the space behind the heart, and find some resistance between the forearms to create more opening for that upper back. Another moment or two here. And then slowly re-extend the arms. Soften left hand down, right arm reaches up. Joyful warrior. Soften the head, soften the gaze. And then extend back into warrior two. Straighten through that right leg. Shorten the stride if you need to. We're going to move right back into our triangle pose in reverse. So left hand down that back leg, right arm reaches up. Now firm that right thigh, pick up the toes on the right foot. Keep that quadricep engaged. And then exhale, bring the arms back to a T. Extend through the right fingertips. Lower down, right into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Soften through that left waist. When you gaze up at the hand, you can see the fingers stacking above the shoulder. Notice the action of pressing into the earth, and that pressing down helps to open up through the heart. Feel the softness, feel that opening, feel that it's safe and supported. One more in-breath here. And then exhale, release the hands to frame that right foot. Step the right foot over to the right. Step the left foot in with the left toes pointing towards the left front corner of the mat. Bend that right knee over the right ankle. Inhale to come up. Warrior one. Now here, right hip comes back. So just like that in warrior two, where that upper thigh bone roots into the hip socket, encourage the same here. And if there is a lot of restriction, separate the feet a little bit more widthwise. So hip width apart, maybe even wider. Wiggle the toes loose, hug the thighs in, soften the shoulders, lift the sternum. One more in-breath here. And then lower the arms down, interlace the fingers behind, and then straighten that right leg. So for our fold here, in this version of pyramid, the stance you had in warrior one might be a little bit long. So I usually shorten my stride, interlace the fingers, reach behind, press into the back heel as you lift the heart. Exhale, hinge forward, leading with the heart, and folding all the way down, chest to right thigh, hands to blocks if that feels more stable, or interlaced fingers press onto the right thigh. Pick up the right toes to encourage engagement of the right thigh so that that knee doesn't lock out. Keep squeezing those inner thighs together. Stay steady with the breath. Then inhale, lead with the heart. Come all the way up to stand. Bring the feet to parallel. Bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the heart. Toes are pointing forward. Exhale, hinge and fold. Fingertips to the mat. If you would like, you can interlace your fingers behind your back or hold opposite elbows. Whatever supports you in this wide-legged forward fold. When you're in your fold, notice what's happening with the distribution of your weight. Notice if your hips are behind the heels, and if they are, rock them forward so that the weight is distributed equally between the front and the back of the feet. Release any gripping toes, feel the arches lift. Then inhale, lift halfway. And then walk your hands towards that right foot as it turns forward. Step it back, downward facing dog. You're welcome to move through a vinyasa here. Inhale forward to plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And then back to downward facing dog. Nice deep in-breath here. And exhale to release. Then slowly walk yourself to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway, long neck. Chin tuck slightly. Exhale, fold. Root down to rise all the way up. Arms reach. Exhale, palms to heart. Bring your hands to your hips. Lengthen your tail. We're bringing our weight onto our left foot. So spread those toes wide. Come to the toes of the right foot. As you're ready, taking your time, moving into tree pose. You can start by lifting your right knee forward before opening. Pressing the foot into the inseam of the leg or using the kickstand method. Adjust for each side. So if you did one way, one side, it doesn't have to match perfectly. It's more about the hip rotation, the opening, as opposed to how high or low the foot is on the leg. Once you have stability, explore reaching your arms. Keep lengthening the tail, soften the inner shoulders, lift from the base of the skull. Couple more rounds of breath here. If you come out of it, just come right back into it. Just like anything, it's a great practice. We try things. We don't always accomplish it as we expected, and yet we look to that as a teacher. We move through it. We get to the other side. Let's lower our palms in front of our heart. Lift that right knee forward and slowly step the right leg back. Setting up for warrior two. Start with hands on the hips. Left heel intersects right arch. Left thigh bone roots into the hip socket. Now press into the outer edge of that right foot. Now we're going to bring left underneath right for eagle arms. Shoulders stack right over hips. So notice if you're hinging forward or a little bit back, try to align. Squeeze the forearms together, create that space for the upper back. Good, another round of breath here. Where can you find softness? And then open up, open that heart, reach the arms. Nice. Soften the shoulders down, soften the gaze over those left fingers. Moving into joyful warrior, inhale, left arm reaches. Nice and slow here, dropping deeply into that lunge. Then exhale back to warrior two. Release any gripping toes as you press into that left heel to straighten the leg. Moving back, right hand down the right leg. Inhale, left arm reaches, firm thigh. And then exhale, bring the arms out to a T, and from here extend before descending. Left hand to the earth, right hand reaches. Open the heart, drop the left shoulder back. Reach the gaze up towards that right hand. Stay firm in the right thigh. Soften the right ribs. One more in-breath here. Soften the left knee, release the hand to frame that foot. We're going to step the left foot to the left. Drop the right heel down, preparing for warrior one. Right toes point to the front right corner of the mat. Rooting into that left heel and the right outer edge of the foot. Left knee bends, arms lift up. Now again here, lengthen the tail. That'll open that right front of thigh and hip right into that psoas. Lift the gaze, lift the heart. Keep the spine long, up all the way to the base of the skull. One more in-breath here. Lower the arms down, moving into the awkward interlace. Begin straightening that left leg. Now maybe adjusting if you need to. Preparing for pyramid. Widening the feet, maybe shortening the stride. In-breath here, quads engaged. Exhale, left hip tracks back and lower. Leading with the crown of the head. Double check that you're not locking into your elbows. Add a micro bend. Really authentically open into those shoulders. Hands can come to the earth or to the thigh. We'll take another round of breath here or two. And then slowly walk the hands to the right. Bring the feet to parallel to start. And then we're going to bring the heels in, toes out. And we're going to move into side lunge. So starting on the right side, straightening through the left leg. Now you've heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. Is the right heel, or the heel of the bent leg, does not need to be grounded. It can be grounded, but it's not always accessible. It does not change the integrity of the pose. Pay attention to what works for you. Recognize that one thing may work more one day than another. Good in-breath here. We're going to slowly transition over to the left side, straightening that right leg. Heel drives down. Left heel lifted or grounded. Stay active with that extended leg. Good, one more in-breath here. And then exhale, let's come back to center. Heels in, toes out. Start bending the knees so they track over the center line of the feet. Bring the hands to the inner thighs. And go ahead and shrug into the shoulders. And then we're going to bend our left shoulder down towards center. Inhale up through. Exhale, right shoulder down. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, left. Inhale, lift. Exhale, right. Good. Inhale back through center. Go ahead and straighten the legs. Bring the feet together. Bring them hip width apart, toes pointing out. Bring the palms to the heart, and we're going to lower into a squat. Resist elbows into knees, knees into elbows. Release the hands to the earth. Begin lifting the hips. Bring the feet hip width apart and exhale, fold. Let go of the head. Shake it yes, shake it no. Clasp onto opposite elbows or interlace the fingers at the base of the skull, allowing the elbows to point towards the earth. Using the weight of the arms to help create length in the neck. Pressing into the heels, into the ball mounts of the big toes, working those legs towards straight. Focusing our attention on the belly of the hamstrings. We want to keep our efforts there. We want to avoid the connection areas. So if you're feeling tension closer to your glutes, soften your knees. And release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring the big toes together. Lower the hips to the height of the knees. Utkatasana. And exhale, Tadasana. Palms to heart. All right. Coming back to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step it back, plank pose. Lifts the base of the skull, tuck the chin, firm the thighs. Chaturanga, cobra or up dog, heart lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. Reach that right leg up and back. This time, bend the knee and open the hip. Really press firmly into that left hand to keep that left shoulder level with the right. Then step that right foot forward to the outside of the right hand. Drop the left knee down. The heel can come onto the mat while the toes may point off. The right knee tracks over the center line of the foot. So I'm going to give you a couple options here. You're, of course, welcome to use blocks or any props that you have, whether you use your hand on a block or your forearm on a block or the floor. Start by taking your right hand to the inner right thigh, opening that thigh up. Working deep into the inner thigh, into the groin. Meanwhile, our left quadricep is opening, our left groin, our left psoas. From here, you can stay here. From here, though, you can bend your back knee. Use a strap or your hand. Find clasp on the outer edge of that foot. Draw the heel towards the glute and roll to the outer edge of that right foot. Hug your thighs in. Good. One more in-breath here. Slowly release. Plant the palms and lift it back. Downward facing dog. Take a moment or two here. And then moving to the other side, left leg rises. Bend the knee, open the hip. Feel that right heel lowering and press into the right hand so you can lift the right shoulder up so it doesn't sag down. Then draw that left heel forward. Rooting down into the mat. Toes may come off. Rooting the right hand into the mat. Take the left hand. Open up that left thigh. Staying right here or bending that right heel, reaching back for the outer edge of that foot. Draw the heel in towards the glutes, sink the hips forward, open the chest towards that left thigh, and maybe roll to the blade edge of the left foot. One more in-breath here. And exhale, lower. Plant the palms, step it back, downward facing dog. We're going to bring our knees to the mat, bring the toes together, and lower into child's pose. Go ahead and move into whatever variation of child's pose will support you now. Arms can reach behind you, fingers aligning with the toes. You can stack the palms and rest the forehead. Arms can extend with palms facing up or down. And then slowly making your way up, come to neutral table. Moving through a few more rounds of cat-cow here, starting with the inhale to open the heart, splay the sitting bones. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tail. Allow the breath to determine the movement. Find softness in the soft palate of the mouth, in the throat. Find softness at the brow. Find softness in the belly. And then coming back to neutral table, go ahead and come to seated, either on your heels or on a block or in cross-legged. And we're going to take our hands behind us and interlace them and place the interlace at the right waist. Squeeze the right elbow into the left, feel the heart open. Good. And then drop the left ear to the left shoulder. Bring the head back up through to center. Take those interlaced fingers at the left waist, draw the left elbow in towards the right. Feel that arch come into that lower back and remove some of the overarch by lengthening the tail towards the heels. And then drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. And notice that as you squeeze that left elbow in, you can feel a little bit more opening in the left side of the neck. Good, nice deep in breath here. And slowly bring the head back up to neutral. Release the arms, go ahead and shake them out. Let's bring the backs of the hands together and allow the elbows to soften. So we had a bunch of planks and chaturangas. So we want to allow the wrists to move in the opposite direction to find balance. Where do you find softness here? Release expectations about the position of the elbows, how far down they are. Send your breath into the back of the wrists. Good. And then shake your wrists out, your hands out. We're going to come into downward facing dog. We're going to move into pigeon pose. And if you know that you prefer pigeon on your back, then go ahead and come to your back for supine pigeon. Otherwise, lifting up into downward facing dog, we're going to draw that right leg up and back. And we're going to bring that right knee to the left elbow. Inhale, reach that right leg up. Bring the right knee to the center. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, right knee towards right elbow. And then we're going to set that right leg down. Right knee towards wrist. Straighten out that back leg. Look back and make sure that the leg is straight and extending from the left hip. Use any props that you might need to. Bring the fingertips to the earth. Heart lifts. Hug the inner thighs toward each other. And then slowly lower down. Again, using any props that you might need. You can use your hands as props, stacked hands, stacked fists. We'll take a few rounds of breath here or more. And with each exhale, allow the heaviness of the body to surrender. Allow the earth to receive it. Allow the tension to melt. Stay aware of sensations that may arise here. Now, if you are on your back, that right knee is out to the right with the right ankle on the left thigh, and the left thigh hugs in. Staying aware of the sensations, using the breath to work through them. This is where we use that power, that yin and yang, to manage through any challenges, any sticky areas on or off the mat. Using the strength and the fortitude of the breath and allowing the breath to bring softness to our asana, to our pose. While this pose might appear as soft, in this position of surrender, we know the work is happening. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then slowly walking your hands back to the mat, tucking the back toes and lifting up to downward facing dog. We'll take a couple rounds of breath here before we transition. Then reaching that left leg up and back. Draw the knee to the right elbow. Hug it in, give it a squeeze. Inhale, left leg rises. Draw the knee into the nose, give it a squeeze. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left knee, left elbow, and then slowly lower down. Pigeon on the left side. If you're on your back, left ankle crosses on right thigh. Left knee presses away as the thigh draws in. Press into the hands. Take a peek back at that extended leg. Make sure it is extending from the hip and that the toes are pointing straight back. Hug the inner thighs towards each other. Press into the hands. And then lower to whatever height feels supportive for you. Using any props that you need to. Recognizing that we've just entered into the second side. And as much as we'd like, and as much as we say that it's symmetrical, we know that in our practice, our bodies are rarely feeling symmetrical. So honor where your body is at and meet it where it's at. Add more props, remove props. Stay with the sensations, follow the breath. Allow the breath to be the stability here and the stamina. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath here. Nice deep inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the body. We're going to shift our weight onto our left hip. Bring the soles of the feet together. Bring the heels as close to or far away from the center of the body as you need to help descend those knees. So if the knees are pretty high up because of tight hamstrings or tight lower back, go ahead and extend those feet further away from the body. Give yourself permission to adjust the pose to support you rather than trying to force fit yourself into an ideal. Fingertips can come behind or rest on the inner legs. Exhale, hinge forward. Allow the spine to be rather straight. The hands can stay behind or reach forward. Lead with the heart. Then inhale to come up through center. Bring the knees together. And if you have a block, bring a block with you. We're going to come onto our backs. Starting with the soles of the feet on the mat. Legs are hip width apart. Shoulders soften. Allow the back body to surrender into the mat. So this next couple of poses, if you have a block with you, or even if you have a blanket that you can fold up and it's pretty dense, or some kind of bolster, lift your hips and place your block beneath your hips. Now I like to start conservatively on the low level and decide if I want to raise that up. And then also make sure that your tailbone comes just off the opposite side of the block. So hips are lifted, a little supported back bend here. If you do not have a block or any props, that's okay. You can bring your pelvis, keep your pelvis on the floor. Together we'll draw that right knee into the chest. Now with a block or without the block, work your left leg straight. Soften the shoulders. Press the back of the head gently into the mat. And if you like, maybe straighten that right leg. A slight bend is also acceptable. Interlace your fingers behind the quadriceps, so at the hamstrings, and encourage a gentle push-pull. So pressing slightly into the interlaced fingers while you pull with the hands, so finding that isometric action. And with an active left leg, become aware of how that feels for the front of the left thigh and even into the inner thigh. Take a moment here to point and flex the feet, the right foot. You could do both, I suppose. Actually, I'd like that left foot to stay active. So point and flex that right foot. And then making rotations in both directions for just another moment or two here. And then slowly draw that right knee back into the chest. And then lower the sole of the right foot down. Bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. Pausing here. Then drawing that left knee in. Holding it around the shin or behind the thigh at the hamstrings. And then working that right leg towards straight. It's okay if it doesn't lengthen all the way. Keep that right foot active, toes pointing up. And then slowly extend that left leg up. Interlace those fingers. Push, pull into that left thigh. Feel that left hip reaching forward, and then point and flex through the left foot. Stay active with the push-pull. Stay active with that right leg. And then drawing circles in both directions. Good, another moment or two here. Feel that thigh bone rooting into the hip socket. And then slowly lower the left foot down. Bring the right foot back to the floor. And then if you're using any kind of prop beneath the hip, go ahead and release that. Shift those hips over to the right, draw the knees in, and allow the knees to drop to the left. Moving into an easy twist. Right arm can extend straight or with bent elbow. The gaze can reach up towards the sky or maybe towards the right, whatever feels the most supportive. Sometimes I actually prefer bringing the turn of my head in the same direction of the knees. So again, it's really a preference, listening to what the body needs, meeting it where it's at. Nice deep in breath here. And then exhale, bringing the knees back to center, shifting those hips all the way over to the left. Lift the knees up, draw the knees over to the right side. Hips stack, left over right. Left arm extends or bends, shoulder softens. Head can be neutral or coming to one side or the other. Use the breath as a way to explore the openness in the trunk of the body. Good. One more in-breath here. And then exhale, bringing those knees back to center, neutralize the hips, and then go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. Slowly extend into Shavasana, final resting pose. We'll be here for a few minutes. So take a moment to get yourself comfortable. Roll your shoulders under, soften the hands, roll the toes in and out, separate the ankles wide. And allow the earth to receive you. Feel the heaviness of the body being completely supported. Allow the body to breathe itself. The softness here is the complete surrender of the physical self. And the strength in this pose is the commitment to that. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. Bringing awareness back to the physical body. Making small movements with your fingers and your toes. Maybe stretching your arms up overhead. You can clasp opposite wrists or elbows. Leaving your right arm lifted up, bending the knees in and rolling to the right side. Pausing here for a moment before bringing yourself up to seated. Allow your palms to come to heart center. Taking a moment here to reflect upon the intention you set for your practice. Committing to the balance of strength and softness. Allowing them to coexist. And remembering that balance doesn't necessarily mean equal. Allowing the balance to be what it makes sense for you, where you're at in this moment. The light in me honors and celebrates the light in you. As you go out into the world, remember to shine. Namaste.